Yeah.
All my personal belongings are covered.
With certain limitations for certain items.
So it's yeah, but no.
So it's yeah, but no. So the homeowner's policy, like I said, they package it to make sure most stuff that a homeowner is going to need is covered under that homeowner's policy. So let's say we have a house that's insured for $300,000.
Right.
Generally, your personal property coverage in the way it's always been it was set at 70% of that dwelling coverage. So you'd get 210,000. Nowadays, the insurance companies have allowed us to lower it because most people don't need the overwhelming amount of personal property that provides.
Right.
But in that, it's supposed to cover everything that you bring into the house after you purchase it. You know, essentially if you could pick up the house and shake it, everything that would fall out is the common kind of illustration that people try to give. But there are limitations for jewelry, guns, coin collection, gold, things like that. So my common broad brush statement is, hey, if you could replace in the next 2 weeks from an Amazon, Kohl's, Best Buy, Sears, or some place retail,
general
outfit,
retail,
then you're fine. 80-inch TV that you bought this year and it's brand new and you spend $10,000 on it, you're fine. That's a pretty common item. But if you have a diamond ring or a piece of art that has an appraised value, and let's go for the art. If that burns up in a fire, if it wasn't scheduled on and you hadn't established the amount of coverage or the value of it prior and paid for the additional coverage to that appraised value, they're going to give you what it costs for the frame, the paper, and the paint. They're not paying you for the value of what you could sell it for and the appraised value.
Right.
That's on the homeowner to make sure that they've established that with an appraisal and scheduled on. So if you've got items in your house that have an appraised value, then let's have some conversation.
Okay. Art's a big one. I have friends who have got amazing artwork.
And it's crazy how inexpensive it is to insure art.
Okay.
So, I think the biggest obstacle with art is just finding somebody to do the appraisal and taking it to them and making yourself be deliberate in tackling that item.
Okay. What about, the sportsmen hunters who have, their guns or whatever, gun collection or whatever.
So depending on the policy that you get, because in North Carolina, the main policy is an HO3 policy. And in the HO3 policy, the limitation on the policy is $2,500 for guns.
Okay.
Some of our companies write what's called an HE7 policy, which actually increases that limit and those special limitations on the policy.